focusing on the wisdom in the room and saying, we got this as a group.
Have you seen examples where there's a sort of, in the schools, there can be this sort of over focus on symptoms? So thoughts that kids are having, or feelings, for example, that kids are having, or is there something else that you might be thinking of? We think about symptoms. It can be something more pedagogical.
Yeah.
As opposed to getting to the root cause.
I mean, for me, the loudest one is anxiety. So, if schools were designed more around the research on how humans learn, they would be places that don't cause so much, as you might say, baseline stress to go up so high.
Yes.
So when a school is designed around the research, you can lower the possible anxiety right off the bat or within time as a student comes to know the school they're in. I think, a malpractice across our country is that we have schools that are based on a factory model, from the industrial era.
Yes.
And that in no way has correspondence with human development, human learning.
And the diversity of humans.
Yes. So that is a big problem. Schools are contributing to anxiety. But when you work at a progressive environment like I do, and you're willing to have in place both a school design that's research-based and instruction that's research-based and school culture, that's like the trifecta. And what happens then is the anxiety that students enter with falls away. Because the school isn't kind of doing that to them.
So this came up in multiple conversations I've had with other educators. You're complimenting what some others have identified as well. So Colleen Weaver came and spoke about the literacy curricula. And I know as someone with dyslexia, as well as many patients with dyslexia, I see incredible degrees of anxiety, stress, that's quite cumulative, causing those baseline stress levels to get very high. And this, quick to stress response, because the stress is so great in a lot of these kids. My sense from a psychological point of view is that, and Colleen Weaver, I think, agreed, they know they're missing something. And that's my experience with my patients. They know, even very young, they know something is off. So I guess I would say the curricula not being evidence-based when it isn't, not only does it create anxiety in sort of the student body and the kids from not getting sort of what they would need, but it especially impacts kids who are more vulnerable in a particular domain, say. So I think as a whole, the schools are impacted, the climate is impacted. When there's not this sort of evidence-based practice, we see when the learning needs are met. I see in my practice, I see in the schools I've worked in, something settles so quickly. I mean, not real quickly, always, but something settles. Sometimes it takes a minute. And because trust has been impacted for a lot of these kids.
I mean, I think in terms of schools and school design, across our country, people have had fidelity to this tradition of the model of high schools in particular, the way they are. And, at the Tremont School and other progressive places, we have fidelity to the research. And we're not looking to tradition because the tradition has been hurtful in some cases. And that's not what we're about. So, we want to lift kids up and help them have a strong learning experience.
Putting the kids in the center.
Yeah, I mean, really, including what Tremont School calls living curriculum, acknowledging students' own organic interests and letting some of that become part of their learning journey.
There was a tweet, because, I'm always looking at these tweets. There was a tweet that someone had put out that said, it's not child-centered, not teacher-centered, it's relationship-centered, but Korean Weaver came back and said, no, it's child-centered. You always put the child in the center. We have to put the child in the center. I guess that is a part of my mission and vision in my life is, can we, actually get this done? Can we focus on the needs of the kids? Can we, in this instance, we're talking about use an evidence-based kind of, use the best of what we have and know.
Yeah.
To best support kids. Thinking about kids in the center. What do you think about that?
Well, I think there are people on school boards and school committees who feel like doing things in a research-based way is soft. Or that it's not rigorous. And I completely disagree with that. Where in progressive environments all over this country, students are challenged to do really strong, powerful intellectual work. And they're pushing their own boundaries, they're stretching, they're doing authentic work that engages the community in some ways. And that's really powerful. It's also a civic education in some ways, doing something real in their community rather than, the odd questions at the end of a chapter or some other rote assignment.